Hello everyone, I'm Mariam, a teaching assistant at Egypt-Japan University of Science and Technology, School of International Business and Humanities, Human Resources Management track. First, I would like to thank IBIMA conference for providing me this fruitful opportunity to be with you today. So I'm going to present my paper entitled Leveraging of Ambidextrous Human Resources Practices on Employee Innovation Performance, the Role of Absorptive Capacity. The authors are me, Mariam, Dr. A.Elgeuoshy, Dr. Safaa, Dr. Yoshiki, SHINOHARA, and finally Professor Adel.R.M.RAYAN. This paper is actually submitted to 45th International Business Information Management Association Conference. Here I'm going to talk about the introduction of my research. Actually, the business era is fluctuating and characterized by turbulent periods such as fierce competition, rapid growing technology, and pursuing of innovation is a must at both organizational and individual levels. So organizations need innovation and the possession of dynamic capabilities and the HR investment for ensuring sustainable competitive advantage. Actually, the organizational innovation rooted in employees' behavior and actions. Also, the innovation allows organizations to become exploitive and explorative simultaneously, which is known as ambidextrous. It helps organizations to be adaptive and improve and develop individual innovative. About the research problem statement, actually there is 45% of organizations focused on improving innovation level, while only 13% focused on individual level innovation. So there is a lack of linking which HR practices that contribute specifically with innovation performance, in particular dual AHRP, which are commitment and cooperation HR practices. This is supported by the need to explore the unclear role of absorptive capacity and the lack of studies in Egypt. Therefore, this study is in examining the impact of AHRP on EIP through AC, which is considered an individual level impact in Egypt. Here I'm going to explain the research variables. The first one is ambidextrous human resources practices. It's a set of work practices that allow continuous integration of exploration and exploitation in pursuing of efficiency. And it's consisted of two main dimensions, and each dimension has a different impact. The first one is commitment HR practices, and the second one is cooperative HR practices. The commitment HR practices is a set of practices that develop employees' skills through establishing long-term employment relationships, employee evolution through extensive training, high engagement in decision-making, which foster organization exploration innovation capabilities. However, the COHRP is a set of methods. This slide here actually is clarifying the literature review of our study. First, I'm going to start here by the AHRP and EIP. For your own consideration, the AHRP is the independent variable and the EIP is the dependent variable. So this slide is going to clarify the relationship between both variables, which is considered the total and the direct effect. The studies shown that there is a lack of studies which HRM practices that support ambidextrous work and also improving innovation in the context of ambidextrity through HR practices is still unexplored, and studies recommended that we should focus on examining. Turning here, I'm going to talk about the mediating role of AC. It's recommended that AHRP should be examined in developing AC, and also here few studies examine the impact of CMHRP on AC, and also the outcome of AC in innovation performance is still neglected and needs further examination. Also, the studies like examining the impact of COHRP on innovation performance from the mediating effect of the AC. Also, a recent study recommended examining a factor such as a mediator between the AHRP and the EIP. Therefore, this study examines the ambidextrity at the effect at the individual level through AHRP. This slide shows actually the conceptual model of our study. Here the AHRP is the independent variable and the AC is the mediator variable and the EIP is the dependent variable. And the CMHRP and the COHRP, those are the two sub-dimensions of AHRP. Actually, the arrows here showing how many hypotheses we have, and I'm going to explain in details in the second slide. The research hypothesis here, actually, there are four. The first one, the H1, which is the direct effect, the AHRP have a positive impact on employee innovation performance, consisted of two sub-hypotheses. The first one is H1A, CMHRP has a positive impact on employee innovation performance, and the second sub-hypothesis is H1B, that COHRP has a positive effect on employee innovation performance. Turning into the second hypothesis is the AHRP has a positive effect on AC, consisted of two main sub-hypotheses. The first one is H2A, CMHRP. Here I'm going to clarify the research methodology of our study. First one, the research design. Actually, we adopted a quantitative descriptive study to be able to examine the causal effect between the relationships of the variables. The second thing is the sampling technique. Here we relied on two different sampling techniques. The first one is convenience, and the second one is snowballing. Actually, the sample size here is consisted of 384 employees from different sectors and different organizational levels to be able to measure the variables. Also here, the data instrument, we used a structured survey based on previous used survey. Here I'm going to clarify our research validity and reliability. Analysis confirmed that there is strong validity and reliability of the survey instrument, and actually I'm going to start by the reliability. It's measured and assessed by three main measurements here. The first one is Cronbach alpha. All construct exceeds values 0.7 threshold. Composite reliability consists of row A and row C. In row A, all constructs values exceed 0.6. And row C here also all the constructs exceed 0.7, which ensure our reliability. Concerning the validity, it's assessed by two things. Here I'm going to talk about the path coefficient results. As shown in the table, the hypothesis and the relationships between the variables and the beta and t-value and p-value. The results shows that all hypotheses are supported and significant, which makes a higher contribution for my research, because here I'm examining the dual HR practices. However, the previous studies examined only one dimension from the HRP, like CMHRP and COHRP. But rare studies have combined the two dimensions, like our current study. Also, the absorptive capacity shown that it strongly affects the EIP, which is consistent with previous studies. So here in this slide, it's showing the structure model. It's actually taken as a screenshot from Smart PLS analysis. It's shown the factor loading and the R-square and the R-square adjusted, and all of this of the three main variables. Here I'm going to clarify the model predictability and fitness of the model. Concerning the predictability of the model, it's shown that the AHRP can affect the EIP by 55.1%, which is considered as sufficient percent. And also the model showing has a strong predictive power according to previous studies. Turning to model fitness, actually it's assessed by two main things: the standardized root mean square residual, and the second one is normal fit index. The SRMR is meeting the required criteria that Actually, our study have a rich number of implications. I'm going to share the theoretical and the practical one. The theoretical here that the study combined three theories, which is social exchange theory and resource-based view theory and the componential theory of innovation and creativity. The three theories used to validate the AHRP. Also, it examined the dual ambidextrity of HR practices from the CMHRP and COHRP perspective. Also, we tested the impact of AHRP on EIP here. So, we offered a comprehensive analysis model of how AHRP impact the innovation performance through the AC. Every study has its own limitations. I'm going to share some limitations and we faced in making our model. The first one is sampling bias because it's addressed through gathering data from employees from diverse departments, roles, and organization. Also, the self-reported data addressed through well-structured, reliable, and validated scale, which ensure the honesty and the transparency of the feedback to avoid the self-subjectivity. The third one is the cross-sectional nature was used and adopted, and it addressing through targeting innovation organizations. Here I'm going to talk about the study recommendations. The first 4 points are for the academia and future researchers. However, the last fifth and sixth point is concerning the business entities to improve their employee innovation performance. Let's start by the academia researchers. Number one, it tested the model across different cultures and contexts, conducting a qualitative study using interviews or focus group to reach a much more deeper insight to understand a comprehensive image of the innovation performance and behavior. The third one here is to provide a longitudinal research design to evaluate the impact of AHRP on EIP. Actually, I finished my presentation. I hope that it provides a comprehensive image for my paper, and all pleasure for your questions. Thank you.